hello everyone and welcome to the mini masterclass on how to deal with challenging and stressful situations. I'm afraid I am 10 minutes late because for some reason my computer has decided to be super slow, like a freaking snail. And it's just taken me so long to even get here. So now we're up and running. I'm going to share my screen with you and hope that it is okay. Now, if you have any questions, then post them in the comments, both on Facebook and in Zoom, and I will answer them. But let's dive in. I'm going to recap on what prompted this masterclass in just a moment. Hello, Caroline. Hope you're well.
I was just trying to turn my camera on and off while you were presenting.
Thank you.
I was like, turn off.
Slightly horrified today. I did a podcast interview and then I forgot it was live streaming. So I was quickly putting on my jumper like 2 minutes to go. So yeah, how are you? Do you have any questions on this masterclass, or you can just ask them at the end?
I'm happy to ask at the end. I think it'd just be really interesting just to see what you've got to share on the topic.
Cool, great. So in that case, let's dive in. So this masterclass is on how to best deal with challenging and stressful situations, as I said, and as usual, how to maximize this masterclass. Turn off any distractions, that's the dreaded phone, that's notifications on your computer. Be ready to learn and level up. Just being open to learning puts you in a state which enables your brain to absorb even more, and have a notepad and pen just in case there is anything useful that you want to jot down and remember. And of course, remember to focus and minimize those distractions outside of technology as well. So I just thought I would recap on what exactly happened for me to prompt this masterclass. So in it feels like the first week of January, but in the second week of January, I kind of had sensed this shit storm, I'm afraid, had been building. Just due to build up issues with my flatmate. We moved in about 6 months ago together. I'd known him for a bit before that from living in Rolo. And one of the biggest issues I was having was the house was just smelling disgusting due to his severe lack of personal hygiene. So this issue had kind of been snowballing, and it now come to a point where I built up the courage to speak to him. I was going to get him some candles and things to just sit down and be like, coming from a loving and caring space. So this issue had been building. We knew the flat had black mold, but I got this confirmed from a handyman. And I also got the handyman just give the house or the flat the once over. The ventilation system that was already installed in the flat had never been working since we moved in. And the landlady would be like, yes, it's being fixed in 2 weeks' time. Then it was 3 weeks' time. Then it was a month. Then next month. Then Christmas. Then January. Then the second week of January. Then it was the third week of February. And it just went on like that. And my flatmate had been dealing with her, and I then said to him when she moved it for like the 10th time, I was like, can I please speak to her? I want to understand what our rights are as rent holders, because this is absolutely crazy. But I did find out from the handyman I had come around that actually the ventilation was redneck ventilation, and even if she did kind of fix it, it would never ventilate the house. And the house was kind of sealed apart from the front door and the balcony door, which went into another room. So it was really difficult to get fresh air into the house, which was kind of causing me more concern because we had the heater on in the winter and also the fire burning. So the quality of air was also getting worse and worse, which was also a concern for me for my health. We had redneck plumbing and redneck electricity. So a lot of the houses in Norway have a mixture of modern and old electronics just because the houses were built so long ago. But apparently this was like on another level of mixture. So what would happen is if you had the kettle on and the washing machine, or the kettle and the oven, often the electricity would break the circuit. And that's because the bathroom and the kitchen was on one circuit breaker, which is absolutely insane. I was told it's quite common for the kettle to break circuit, but coming from England, I was like, this is absolute insanity. Like I want to have my cup of tea while I'm making my breakfast. So that was really interesting. And if I'd known that, I never would have agreed to rent the house, like not be able to boil the kettle and have the oven on at the same time. So this is now a question I am now asking when I go to look at flats is, can I boil the kettle and turn the oven on at the same time? So how did this situation become even more difficult and stressful? So the level of stress this was doing, or I was doing around the situation, was that my lymph node was swollen. It's still a little bit swollen, so that's going to be. I've now got an ultrasound to bring to just check that it is coming down, but to make sure there's nothing else there. And when I do stress, and I don't do enough things, or some things just tip over the edge, I will break out in hives. Often going into a very relaxed and calm state, I can bring it down in a couple of minutes. But the entire second week of January, I could just feel it kind of tingling under my skin. So it became even more stressful and more difficult because my flatmate told me to Google it when I asked what our Norwegian rights are as tenants. And he refused to get involved. Basically, he said it was my crusade to live in a nice flat, apparently. So that was difficult because I don't speak the language. I had to read and convert everything in Google Translate. And when you're communicating with the landlady, in order for everything to be legal, it has to be in Norwegian. So I then had friends translating it for me as well. Eventually my flatmate did decide to get involved, and that's when he sided with the landlady, because apparently it's so that was just what happened. And when he interfered, she said she hated me, never wanted to speak or see me again, and I have her confirming this in writing. So that was obviously a very pleasant conversation with her. And at 9:30 on Wednesday evening, I was given an ultimatum to move out or else. I didn't know what the or else was. I wanted to break contract, so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to take it. And he was allowed to stay. And being given less than 24-hour notice to move out is again illegal in Norway. And the landlady had actually broken the law by renting this flat out on more than 3 occasions. So the deposit was, my flatmate handled the deposit and he put it directly into her bank account, knowing that was illegal. Again, that's not allowed in Norway. It has to go into a third-party account so you can get your money back. It has black mold in it, and the house cannot be rented out with mold or toxins in Norway. And also because she was registered as living in the so the flat was made up of 5 other flats. Like the building was made up of 5 flats. She was registered as living in one of them, which wasn't true. So then she created a 1-year contract, which is also illegal. And I wanted to discuss breaking contract, obviously in a very friendly way, and she refused to cooperate to allow us to withhold rent, to allow us to discuss breaking contract, none of this. She was very aggressive and rude from the beginning. And ironically, she told me that the house was totally habitable and acceptable and that I should talk to the commune. When I then spoke to the commune with my report from the handyman, they then declared it an illegal place to live. And then, yes, the day I then moved out, so that was on the Thursday morning, my flatmate went back on our previous agreement and I totally lost trust. And I just wasn't sure if I'd ever see any of my money again, which was a lot, including the deposit and the items we'd bought together. And he just made things much more difficult and stressful than they needed to be. So that's kind of everything that happened, and it was all packed almost into 1 week, and it was absolute insanity and super crazy. And when I speak to the I did everything legit. So I went through the commune and I went through the housing authority here. So they provide you with free guidance and advice, and they'd never heard of anything like this before. So that was like what happened in 1 week. And how to come out of it unharmed, or I guess unharmed, or like still healthy and still functioning, was a real big achievement for me. That was a real champion moment, if you like, because I was able to, the day I moved out, I was shaking and doing a lot of stress and doing spiraling. But I was able to kind of rein it in. And I'm going to share with you I think there are 8, 9 things. I think I just want to add 10 that makes the difference. And I've been through various, as I'm sure you have as well, various different challenging and stressful situations. And these are now the things I've boiled it down to. when surviving these kind of things. It's happened a couple of times when I've moved country to Norway. And now each time I'm becoming more and more resilient. I know what I need to do in order to come out kind of unscathed, if you like, as much as possible, and coming out feeling happy as one can be when you've been through something like this. So I'm going to run through with you how I dealt with the situation to largely stay on track. I did drop the ball on things, definitely not perfect, but these techniques will help you deal with a similar situation that may or may not have even happened just yet. If you have any questions, put them in the comments on Facebook or in the Zoom chat, and I will see them and answer them for you. So the first one is to know what is your desired outcome, and to again state this in positive, productive, and powerful language. You need to know what you want out of this outcome, because if you're gonna do stress around this, then you need to know what outcome do I want at the end of this, and you want to state it in positive, productive, and powerful language. So my desired outcome from this was to use it. Once I discovered there was black mold, I knew that a contract could be broken. So my outcome was to break contract in the easiest and best way possible. That was my desired outcome. I guess you can say I achieved it because I did it in the best way I could. I tried every avenue and I wanted it to be friendly, and I stated this in various communications with everyone. Sometimes you're not going to achieve your desired outcome, but you're going to get close. But it's really important to know what direction, where do you want this, and how do you want this to end, because then you can create a plan, a strategy. So I knew I wanted to break contract in the best and easiest way possible. I tried to do it with my flatmate, but obviously that wasn't an option. And I tried to communicate. I told the landlady I wanted to discuss it with her in person, and have a friend who came with me because she can translate. So they were the two things I wanted to do, but obviously they didn't happen. So then it was like, okay, I need to talk to the commune. They gave me directions and advice on how to handle this kind of situation. And I spoke to 2 or 3 other friends as well who helped me. One was Norwegian and translating and could help me navigate the differences in culture. And the other friend was a landlord in Norway, and he helped me to talk to the landlady in a way that was respectful and friendly, but also was like in line with the law. And I had another friend who'd been a landlord and a tenant, so he knew both sides of the coin. So once you need a plan, and you can ask people, on one of the points here is ask for help, ask for guidance to help you create this strategic plan as well to achieve your desired outcome, and work through it step by step. Obviously you want it on things you can influence, but the thing you can influence is asking that person, like, hey, can we do this in a really friendly way? Like, how can we both come to a solution that we are as happy as we can be? And that you can have that olive branch and reach out. You just can't control or influence the outcome. You can't control the outcome, but you can influence how to kind of start to get them involved, if you can, in a really great way. So once you have your desired outcome, create that strategy, that plan for achieving that outcome. And again, depending on the situation, for me, it was just like kind of more, okay, this is the next step from the housing authorities. This is what I have to do next. So it's a bit more reactive because I actually didn't know what the plan was, apart from ringing the housing authority to find out the next steps. And then again, it depended on what she was communicating back as to what the next step was. So if you can be strategic, it's not always good to be reactive, but just be strategic and focus on the things you can influence in order to achieve that desired outcome. And then who can you ask for help? So very often we don't like asking for help. We don't like leaning on people. But this is when you're going through a challenging situation, your friends are there for you, and lean on them. And you can still ask them, like, hey, how's your day going? But you can still lean on them for help. So I'm really lucky. I have an amazing support network here. So I reached out to my friends, were like, hey, can you help me? Whether it was, hey, can you get me 3 boxes? Or, hey, like, can you come over and help me finish packing? I'm doing stress and doing spiraling, and I just need someone here to have a more objective view and to help me finish the last bit of packing. Hey, can I borrow your car? Hey, do you know someone who can come and help as well? So then we got someone else, another friend involved. Um, so it's really important to think of list maybe 3 to 5 people who you can ask for help, whether it's emotional support or physical support, as in they are there helping you pack up for in this case, helping me pack up my house. So think, who can you ask for help? I then got to a point where I had to find a mover to move out some of the big items like a freezer and a washing machine. So again, I just text my friends urgent, like, can you recommend a moving company? Because when I Googled it, there were 3, but they'd all gone under or one wasn't available. So I then had 2 or 3 friends finding moving companies for me. And then one of them sent me this like literal Viking angel to me. So think, who can you ask for help and what can they help you with? Lean on them for their strengths. And whether it's emotional support like my mum, or like your mum or my mum, it was my mum, was emotional support, or a partner. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. Feel confident, because you ask them for help now, they'll ask you for help later. And having a really strong friendship and partnership is when you're a team. So an occasion you'll lean on them more heavily, then they'll lean on you more heavily. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Next is to visualize your desired outcome. So once you know what the outcome you want, you have your rough plan in place, or a detailed plan in place, depending on your situation, and you have the people you can ask for help and who are going to help you. Then, in a really powerful, positive way, visualize your desired outcome. So see, how is it going to go? So I was visualizing, how will she read the email? Would she read it and it come out in a positive way, or in the best way possible? Moving out, okay, what's it going to look like? What am I going to pack first? How am I going to feel? I'm going to feel, obviously I was going to feel calm and relaxed. But when I woke up, I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to crush it. I have all my boxes. I'll load it into my car. My friend's coming at this time. Another friend's coming at this time. Let's just shove it all in the car. And we got it in 4 carloads, I think, in the end, 3.5. So visualize it, exactly how you're going to feel, how you're going to think. What are you going to do first? What are you going to do next? When you're then confronted with maybe the person, how are you going to feel? How are you going to react? And when you turn up and it's actually happening, you may not do those things. I wasn't doing calm or relaxation. I was breaking out in hives and I was shaking like a freaking leaf from doing anxiety. But I knew unconsciously that I wanted to do calm. And so, although I was reacting in not the most helpful way, I was still reacting in a way that was kind of grounded, or thinking about being calm as possible. So my voice wasn't being raised and I was coming at it from a state of love and compassion. So although when you come to the situation, it's not going to be exactly how you visualized, you're going to be coming from really powerful states. And you're going to be much more present and much more thoughtful to how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you're reacting, and what you're saying. And that's really important, especially if you've really visually rehearsed it. You're going to know some of the key things to say. Visualize, okay, if they react this way, then I'm going to react this way, or I'm going to say this. So I had key things that I would thought he might say, and then I'd react this way, or what she would say, and I would say this instead. So really visualize in detail, what are you going to say? How are you going to feel if it's this situation, or if it goes this way? So you're not caught off guard. And also, by visualizing exactly how you're going to be in the situation, you're also going to feel more confident and relaxed, well, as relaxed as you can going into it. So although I'm not going to lie, completely transparent with you guys, I was doing shit scared going in, especially in the evening when I had to take the items to try and get some of my money back. It was not a happy emotion I was going in. It was scary. I do not do this kind of this emotional confrontation very well. I do find it triggering because I was bullied back in college, and that comes sometimes I go, when confronted with a similar emotional situation, I can go back to that 18-year-old. In this case, I did my best not to do that, and I really reacted and behaved and thought from a much stronger, more relaxed place, and also communicating that from a place of compassion and love, because I wanted us, but all of us, to come to a solution which we were happy with. It's not going to be the best situation for absolutely everyone, and we're not going to be ecstatically happy, but I mean, like, satisfies and like, this is the best we could do. So yeah, let's do it. So really visualize your desired outcome, exactly how you want it to go, and if there are any pits you might fall into, how you'll come over them, or literally jump, how you'll get over it, or how you'll jump over the pit so you don't even enter it. The fifth one, use powerful, productive, positive language, as I just said, when also visualizing, and do your best when you're talking to the person. So instead of saying like, I want to discuss this, so I really want to discuss this in a really friendly and open way. So pre-frame, using your language skills, how you want the situation to go. Like, I would love to discuss this with you in a really friendly and open conversation. I really like to come to a solution that works for both of us. I'd really love to end this with our friendship intact, so can we please discuss it in this kind of like friendly, open way, because I still think you're an awesome human being, and I want to maintain this friendship and this connection that we have. So use powerful, productive language when talking to yourself. So like, I'm doing the best I can. I had to do this for me. I'm the number one priority here. But also when communicating to them as well. Like, I think you're really awesome, but we just need to have this conversation so we can both come out feeling good about this. So use powerful language, communicating to yourself and to others. Meditation and box breathing, obviously absolutely key here. When doing more situations like this, I find box breathing a little bit harder, so I might go to a guided meditation, or I'll use the Soma Breathe app and do it with a binaural beat just to get something else coming through, or I'll do a moving meditation, so I'll go for a walk or an easy ski. And you can fit this in and around the situation. So when you're driving to your friend's house, you can do deep breaths. When you're walking into the work, do deep breaths. So it's not necessarily being like, okay, it's my normal morning routine at 8 a.m. I'm doing meditation. It's looking, okay, where else can I fit breathing into this day? Because it's an irregular day and I need to feel more calm. So where can I fit this in? Whether you're taking 20 minutes out, or whether you're doing it while you're moving in the car, when you're going food shopping. So really be in tune with your breath. And I know in the situation, I was really, when we do anxiety, obviously our pulse is quickening, we can shake, we can do all these things. And it's great in that situation if you can just take a deeper breath, slow your words down as much as possible, feel your breath and kind of ground yourself into it. That's also really powerful. And you don't have to do it in a way that they notice either. You can do it breathe through your nose, it isn't ideal, or you can breathe through your mouth and just do it in a more discreet way. And that's really important for bringing everything, kind of deregulating everything. So getting it down on a different lower level. So you're not operating like here, but you're operating from a grounded level, which is again going to enhance your communication and enhance how you handle the situation. And of course, reduce stress, which is always nice. And here, self-care is your number one priority. So do things that are going to be the self-care for you, because in order to survive this and come out stronger, you've still got to be intact. So practice self-care. I mean, for me, I just had to cancel a morning call for you guys, and I had to cancel the live Q&A because I just had to put myself first. And I knew if I had those two things, I'd be doing even more stress. And my friend made me a bubble bath, so I had a bath or a long shower. And eat more nutritious food, but also allow yourself to have that bar of chocolate. So practice self-care. It's your number one focus, because none of this should be taking you away from your goals, but sometimes it just does. So make sure you're supporting yourself through self-care, through love, through compassion, through patience. Watch that film, take a nap. One afternoon, I went to see a friend for help, and I was just so exhausted. We were at their flat. They said, do I want lunch? And I think it was like 3 or 4, and I hadn't eaten. When doing stress in these situations, my appetite just disappears, which I know is ironic from considering what I just told you. But then maybe I'll have like a juice or something instead, a green juice instead. So he said, do you want lunch? And I was like, that sounds great, thank you. And then he was like, oh, do you want to watch something on Netflix? He's like, this is a really funny documentary. It was like a mockumentary on 2020. It's hilarious on Netflix, by the way. So we watched that, and then he was like, hey, like there's this really other great film that I think you're going to enjoy. So then we watched this like cartoon film, which I've never watched before. And I kind of watched it and fell asleep on the sofa. But you know what? I needed that, because this situation was so insane. And that really helped me. It made me feel a bit more fresh and recharged. So then I could do a bit of work, and I could deal with the emails coming through and the communication coming through from all parties. So it's really important to focus on self-care and not feel guilty about it and to ignore it. You've got to focus on self-care in order to handle this situation as best you can. And to listen to your body. So actually, I haven't trained properly for maybe 2 weeks now, coming into the 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, just because I've been skiing a couple of times. I've been swimming a couple of times with friends, a few times with friends, but nothing like it was never pushing myself. It's just been easy stuff. And that's because I was exhausted, really drained, and just didn't feel like doing it. I had no motivation. And that's not a time to push through. It's just a time to listen to your body. And if your body is saying like, hey, let's go for a ski, or like, hey, let's go for an easy run, or like, hey, let's do some yoga or strength mobility, then do it. But if your body is like, I'm really not feeling it, then I would listen to your body. And take extra recovery, because it's only going to serve you. It's going to A, help your body absorb your training, but B, it's going to serve you down the road, because you're not going to come out of this burnt out. You're going to come out with energy, with health. And they're really key foundations to performing at your best. So then, although you might miss a couple of weeks or days of training, you're going to come out and you'll be able to hit your training as if you never left. So listen to your body, and tune in, and don't feel guilty about missing sessions or anything like that. If you have a trainer, they're there for you. Tell them what's going on, and they will support you and help you make up for the training as well. And then recharge afterwards and be patient. It's taken me probably a week and a half. So although I moved out, so Wednesday, second week of January on Wednesday, that's when I was given the ultimatum. Spent all day Thursday, I think 12 hours at least, moving out. And then Friday, it was moving the stuff from my friend's garage and her porch into a storage room. That was all day Friday. Weekend away in Rolo, cabin, and I think I just slept and went for a few walks. It was also -20 outside, so it was freaking cold. And then last week was just really listening to my body, sleeping a lot, and going for a couple of swim sessions. I didn't feel like going skiing, which is so unlike me. So I need to listen to my body. Lots of good food, and just completely chilling out and doing as much work as I could, but not forcing myself into kind of like that, doing the burnout thing. So I just did as much as I could. I showed up as much as I could for my members as best I could, but really focusing on that recharge, because I know that this is the last week and we need to really show up for this week and the weeks beyond. Whereas if you just completely kind of go back headlong into things without giving your body time to catch up, that's when you're in danger of doing burnout. So really recharge, be patient with your body, listen to it. Obviously, don't get stuck in a funk, but notice how your body's recovering, what it needs, listen to it, react to it, and yeah, deal with it in the best way possible. And do your best. in the recharge moments and in the patience. This is actually the last slide, but the thing I wanted to say is number 10, which I realized that I hadn't put in at the beginning, was to surround yourself with the people who are going to take you to where you want to go, with the positive people who add to your lives, not take out. So by this, I mean, I realized that I needed to be, well, I'll now be living on my own, but I need the people around me. Like I got some of these amazing friends and I was like, they add so much value to my life and they're so cool and awesome and they're going to go where I want to go. They're the people you need to hang out with and surround yourself with, because you are the average of the 5 people you hang out the most with. So make sure that those people are the ones who share your values and you admire them and you love what they do and how they act and behave, and they're the ones who you'd be proud to be the average of. That's really important. So otherwise, that's